Hello and welcome to Light Body Healing. And I'm your host, Dr. Lara May. And today I have with me Dr. Sandra Schur, and she is an Auric field consultant and expert. And she uses her skill of reading the human aura to help purpose-driven entrepreneurs and professionals create more fulfillment by honoring the true needs of their soul. As the founder and owner of Aura Power, she has worked with numerous clients from across multiple industries to achieve newfound clarity, align with their deeper purpose, and create more success and fulfillment. By reading her clients' auras, she has helped many see their lives and businesses in a different light that is more aligned with their soul. Having developed this skill in a private practice as a chiropractor, she now uses this gift to help her clients break through subconscious blocks, creating more success and fulfillment in their lives and their business. Welcome, welcome. It's so good to talk to you again. How are you?
Oh, it's great to be here, Dr. Lara. Wonderful.
Yeah, so let's just jump right in. First, I want to get started with your story and how you sort of grew from chiropractor into this auric expert.
Mhm. Well, what started happening when I was a chiropractor was I started seeing, I really had a very strong intention to understand what was going on emotionally with my clients, because I always believed that the emotions and the body were very intertwined and the subconscious mind are very intertwined. So I had this very strong desire to understand that. So I actually took some training from a very gifted clairvoyant who taught me how to kind of pick up on energy in people's fields. And what started happening when clients would come in to my chiropractic office is I started to see images around their bodies, and the images would give me information about what was going on with them on a subconscious level. Usually it was some kind of inner conflict they were trying to resolve, or just some issue that was really up for them in their life. And by talking about the picture, it would give them insight into what they were really thinking and feeling, and really kind of help understand themselves and their inner drives and motivations. And then one day, I no longer saw images. The images just all of a sudden turned to colors. And this client came in and I just saw these blobs of color around his body. And I was like, wow, what's this? And I just tuned in with my intuition to what the color was trying to tell me and just went with it. And it turned out to be actually a lot more cut and dried way of understanding the person's thoughts and feelings, because the colors are almost like a visual map of the subconscious mind, and where they are located in the field gives very specific information about what's going on subconsciously. So it actually made it a lot easier to interpret somebody's field using the color, seeing the aura directly rather than seeing the images, which is kind of an intermediary, I would say, to getting the information. So that's how it's all started.
Cool. So
Yeah.
let's go straight from that into a little bit more specifically, what is the aura? And I've read that there are different layers to it too. So can you kind of explain that to us?
Yes. The aura has, depending on who you talk to, the aura has different layers. There's some people say 7, some people say 12. The layer that I read is the emotional body, and it contains all the thoughts and feelings of the person in that moment. So depending on whatever they're thinking about, I will see the colors that are representing those thoughts and feelings in their aura, in the pattern that I'm seeing in their aura. There's also the etheric layer, which is the layer that acupuncturists manipulate, and that's the one that's closest to the body. So that one relates directly to what's going on physically with the person. And then as the layers go more externally, they become more spiritual. There's the mental layer, the spiritual layer. There's other layers outside of that. I think the astral body. But the layer that I read and that I'm most familiar with is the emotional body.
Oh, okay. And so you said that when you read that this emotional layer is showing you what the person is thinking in the moment itself, or because I know part of your work too is sort of excavating what people have stored in this emotional layer too.
Yes.
So I guess, how do you know what's present a feeling versus what's been stored over time?
Oh, that's a very good question. So when I'm looking at someone's aura, what I'll see is a pattern of colors. And those colors will tell me the thoughts and feelings, but also the beliefs. So for example, I mean, the best way to illustrate it is an example.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm looking at someone's aura and they're thinking, so how I do it is I have the client focus on whatever issue they want clarity around, whatever challenge or issue they want clarity around, and have them think about that specific thing while I look at their field. Because whatever I'm seeing in their field will be directly related to that.
Okay.
So, yes. So if they're thinking about, for instance, someone's thinking about, oh, I've got to go out and do this talk, right? And they really want to talk from their soul. They want to communicate their truth, the wisdom, their higher wisdom. It's really coming from this heart-based, soul-based level. What I might see is blue in their throat, but depending on how challenged they feel about being able to do that, the more challenged they feel, the darker that blue will be. So if that person is totally in the zone about being able to channel their wisdom, channel their truth, communicate their higher truth, that throat chakra will be a bright blue or even a light blue. Light blue is when we're channeling higher guidance. We're really connected to our higher guidance and we're just expressing that out into the world. But if that person has dark blue when they're thinking about that talk, that means they're trying to kick out some kind of programming that told them they need to communicate this way, they need to use their will this way, because they need to have it's like these shoulds are controlling them, that are saying this is the only right way to do it and your way is the wrong way, you've got to do it this way. So it's authority energy that's lodged in their throat, that's making them conflicted about connecting to their inner authority, not that external authority that said, no, this is the truth, this is your truth. They need to separate from that so they can really communicate their wisdom, what they're here to share with the world, not what they were taught that isn't necessarily their truth. You know, that's the program.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. So, and how do you take someone through that, a clearing like that, or a healing or a reconciliation, like whatever word?
Yeah. So, well, when I look at their field, usually when I'm looking at someone's field, they'll have dark blue, they'll have other colors as well besides the dark blue. But for example, if we're just clearing the dark blue, what I would have them do is do a clearing, an energy healing exercise to clear out that programming. So it would be like, I can speak my truth, share my wisdom with the world, and enlighten people around me, or something like that. And we would install that new belief in their energy system using tapping. I use EFT, I use tapping.
Oh, okay, cool.
So we would go through the points and have them affirm that while they're tapping through all the points. And then after we would do that, this is how I do a session, I would have them think about, okay, now think about doing that talk. And we would look at their field again and see what colors pop out. Because usually when someone's working on a big issue, there's 3 or 4 layers of programming and beliefs we need to clear. So I'd have them think about it again, and they might have like dark red in their 3rd chakra, which is the power center. And dark red, and I see this all the time with women, there's a lot of blocks in the power center because women are programmed that it's not okay for them to be powerful, right? We get a lot of programming. Men are supposed to be the powerful ones. We're the support people in the background. We're not supposed to be leaders, blah, 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 blah. So when you're out there and you're doing public speaking, you are a leader, you are stepping into your power. It could trigger the power center in a woman. In dark red, I mean, this is just what's coming to me in the moment, obviously. If dark red is a inner conflict around being safe, doing that thing that your soul wants you to do. So in the power center, it's like the soul, the woman's soul, I'm saying a woman because it's just, I work with a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
The woman's soul is saying, we want you to be powerful in this way. We want you to step into your power. We want you to shine your light. But the programming that she got, that I believe all women have got, has been, no, you can't do that. You're supposed to be in the background. You're not supposed to be speaking your truth. You're not supposed to be, you know, a mover and shaker, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that she has to resolve that conflict. So we would do some clearing around that.
Yes.
Like, you know.
Yeah, that's so true. So many layers, or, you know, everything is so intricate. And, you know, it's interesting, you know, like you said, like some of it is ingrained from family, you know, contracts, if you even want to call them that. And then other things are cultural that you bring in from like school and church or whatever part of the world you're raised in. And so, yes, it's definitely, I think it's beautiful, but at the same time, I think it can be such an awakening for people too, to realize that, oh, you know, especially because these things keep us in cycles and patterns, right? And I know this is one of the things that you do with your clients is you help break them free from their cycles and patterns. And so, could you say that there's a certain amount of, I don't know, like sessions or time commitment, or is it really up to like the person's like willingness and their openness and in terms of like how fast some of this can shift? Like what is your experience been with seeing those shifts and how fast they can happen?
It varies a lot, obviously,
Yeah.
from person to person, depending on the issue. Like if someone who was severely abused as a child and is trying to work through, you know, stepping into their power as a leader, I mean, they obviously have to work through a lot of stuff, as opposed to someone who had a really supportive upbringing and they just want to, I don't know, you know, lose a few pounds or something,
Yeah.
you know, or just, you know. So it really depends on the person and the issue. And there is definitely an element of willingness. That's an interesting, that's a whole another issue that is a kind of I really at this point in my life find to be still a mystery, that some people on the surface seem willing, but there really does seem like a part of them that really isn't comfortable with making the change and is resisting it. So, and what I find is those clients, because when we get into what's creating the resistance, if they're really resistant, they'll just drop out because they don't want to go into that. And I don't see that so much now, but I saw that a lot when I was a healthcare practitioner, when we would dive into the issues that were making them want to stay in that cycle of illness, that because they were getting some kind of positive feedback for being, you know, having a chronic illness. Once we would get into those issues, it got too uncomfortable and they would not want to continue with
right.
But I don't see that so much anymore. With because most of my clients are entrepreneurs, they're professionals, they want to get ahead, and they're mostly aligned with that already. You know, they're really ready.
And I think a lot of times too, people get to the point, hopefully, where they're willing to do literally whatever it takes. You know,
that's when people make huge breakthroughs. I mean, that's the key right there, being willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
If everyone did that, I don't even think we would have, I think we'd all be out of a job. Actually, all of us coaches. Seriously.
That's funny. Yeah, that's one of the things that about my journey that I say, you know, I got to the point where I was just, you know, unwilling to feel like crap anymore. I cared more about feeling good than anything else. And that was my primary focus. And it's funny how that has showed itself in my life at different points, but that's really when the big shifts have happened, because then as humans, we're willing to, like you said, step into our power because we are all powerful creators. And when we're ready to say, okay, I'm going to be an action taker, I'm going to be honest with myself. I think that's the other thing when you were talking about when we were talking about the willingness and how it is interesting when people seek out help, they seek out healing, even if it's Western medicine, they're seeking out some sort of help, but they're used to this cycle. And in some ways that cycle gives them a sense of security. And
that, you see, with health issues, that's the sticky part with the health issues, because the programming that's wanting them to hang on to that health issue is usually really, really deep. Like I recently had a client, and this kind of blew my mind, who had been a client when I was a chiropractor, and she joined my current group program. And this came up for her, and it turned out she was going through all kinds of stuff, stay-at-home mom who hasn't worked for 13 years. And she kept saying, I don't know what I want. And she was clearly very stuck. And I felt like I couldn't help her. Well, it turned out that her mother had a life-changing illness when she was 3 years old. Her mother almost died when she was 3 years old. And the family, after that point, we kind of revolved around her mother, because her mother was considered like, you know, a woman who had gone through this, and her father wanted her, you know, to make sure that all the kids were very aware that mother needed to be. And so she picked up some programming. I really think this is going on, that how you're powerful is you're helpless. You know? And we really started to touch on that. And after that, she was like, it was really, you know, it's hard to face.
Yeah. Well, what an awakening though.
Yeah.
You know, if you're willing to see it like from a perspective of love and sort of like remove yourself from the emotional ingrainment of it.
Yes. Yeah. It was powerful. It was very powerful when she saw that maybe that was going on, but she still needed to really work through that. And it was still kind of tempting to stay in the pattern because she was being supported in it by her husband. So that was the other thing, you know, so if there's a pattern that's being supported by a family member, that if they change, then the family member will somehow, because maybe the husband wants to be needed and he likes her being dependent. I mean, you know, sometimes there's all these tentacles that have to be kind of pulled out.
Yeah. And especially in a family dynamic, you know, whether it's, you know, with a spouse or another person in your family. I was working with a client recently who had a child, a sibling, but a child in the family dynamic that needed a lot of support growing up, but the parents never weaned that support away. And so it continued into extended adulthood, but it created this dynamic where the other siblings in the family felt almost abandoned and neglected. And so it was just really interesting, like you said, you know, because you and I do similar work, but just in totally different ways. But yeah, we're like really helping our clients see it from the bird's eye view and from that objective perspective where we sort of see each aspect is almost like a soul contract, that it's not personal. Like it feels personal when you're in it and going through it for sure. But in order to really heal and grow past it, I feel like we all have to get in, because I say we, because it happens to all of us in some way, shape, or form at some point. And so maybe that's part of like our life contract as a human, is to learn how to grow past these situations, see the other people and the person with love and compassion. But then, like you said earlier, step into your power and really decide, like, what are your boundaries going to be? What are you going to say, you know, lovingly no to, or, you know, allow into your energetic field? And I think all this is also a journey of re-empowerment and reawakening, because I think we're all born into this life with this, but like you said, it's conditioned out of us.
Exactly. And that's usually what I see. Like, this client was very unusual. I don't usually attract clients like that. And that's one reason I've chosen to leave the health field, because I think there is so much stuff going on when someone has a chronic illness. I really wanted to work with people who were really ready to make the big changes and were really ready to embrace that. And we're already kind of moving in that direction. It's just who I resonate with the most. So when she came in and we were working on that level, it was really like unusual for me to have that going on. But because usually the clearing is it's pretty instant, and the person wants to move forward and they're liberated, and there isn't a conflict about moving forward. It was almost like she still had a conflict about moving forward and empowering herself, because empowering herself on one level would mean losing someone's love in a certain way on another level.
Right.
Because of that programming. That's what made it really complicated.
Yes. And I like that you said, like, I like that you brought the love into, because, you know, in these dynamics we see, and, you know, what happens over time. So this is, and I love Joe Dispenza says, we know more about the past than obviously we do about the present. And we bring their past into the future and the present because that's what we know. And so when we have this experience or this pattern of, oh, I get my power or I get my love in this dynamic, even though it's disempowering and it keeps me where I really don't want to be, that's what I know. So that's where I'm going to stay. I'm going to keep using that. So it's really, I think it's really magical and powerful when our clients come to us, and even if they're not sure, but they decide. You know, that's another word that I love. They decide, because once you decide, then you have, you know, said to yourself and the universe, all right, I'm ready for change. I'm willing for something to change.
Well, it's a dance, because on the other hand, for them to be able to decide, they need to remove enough of that programming. You know, like I really believe with this woman, if we removed enough of that programming that was keeping her stuck in that power dynamic, love dynamic that wasn't healthy, she would have been able to break out of it. But, you know, it's a matter of, you know, going there and just staying the course. It's not even like, that's how I see it. It's almost like, how much do you want it? I guess if we're talking about the same thing, how much do you want it?
Yeah,
You
but
know,
I think
the desire has to outweigh whatever is that block. Is the desire for change has to outweigh the desire to stay the same. And most of all my clients that come to me have that. So that's why I was like, oh, this is unusual.
Yeah.
Oh.
So with the programming, are there aspects of our programming that we don't store, or can some of it come from external sources and we're not aware of it? Like, how much of it is us and our free will, even if it's subconscious free will, versus like an outside influencing that aura and that energetic storage there?
Well, I don't even know how to answer the question. Okay. I mean, maybe that's a big I have no idea. Some of it's from our family, some of it's from our culture, you know. Some of it can be, I think some of it can even be in the womb. I really believe some of it can even maybe be past lives. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, all I know is when I see it, I can see what the pattern is, and I can talk about it in a fairly specific way. And it doesn't matter where it came from. What's important is that the person becomes aware they're being run by this certain limiting belief. And as soon as they get that on an emotional level, it's like, wow, the light bulb goes on. And that's the power of it. It's awareness. And they're no longer unconscious in that unconscious pattern, because now they're aware of it. And just that alone, even before we do the energy work, a lot of times is enough to create the big shift. And then the energy work just reinforces that new, healthier, more soul-aligned way of being in the world.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's so cool. So how else is the aura important for our success and fulfillment? Like, give us maybe some, go ahead.
Yeah. So the more aligned we are with our soul, the brighter our aura is, the more we're able to radiate our energy out into the world in a healthy way, so that we connect to those people and things and opportunities that support us on a soul level. When we're being controlled by our programming, our aura literally gets dark. We literally become less visible to people who could support us on a soul level. It's almost like they can't see us, or they can't find us, because we are literally like hiding our light under a bushel. I mean, that literally is what's going on when we have a lot of programming controlling our thoughts, decisions, and actions. Our light dims
Mm-hmm.
So the more we clear that programming, those limiting beliefs, those, negative emotions, I don't like to use that term, but limiting emotions
Mm-hmm.
out of our field, the brighter our field becomes. And the more aligned we are with our soul, and the more we're able to radiate our truth, our wisdom out into the world where people can see us, find us, connect to us. And that's what creates fulfillment. Life is really about relationships and being able to connect to people who resonate with us on our soul level. I talk about, I think of it as your soul tribe. The more
Mm-hmm.
you're shining your light, the more that soul tribe can find us and connect with us and support us in what we're here to do in the world. I believe we all incarnate, we all have certain gifts that we're here to share. And the more we're able to stand in our power and radiate that light out into the world, that wisdom, the more we'll be able to fulfill our highest destiny and connect with all those people who we're here to serve.
Yes. So do you then maybe this might be another I'm not sure question, or I don't know if anyone knows the answer, but so you said that when we clear these patterns and programming, the light comes in. So does the light come in naturally, or do we need to call it in with intention, or is it a combination of both?
It just happens.
Okay.
When I work with someone and I tell them what's happening, what the beliefs are. I mean, I discuss it with them. I don't I tell them what I'm saying, and then we talk about how
Mm-hmm.
it's relating to their life. When we do the clearing, when I'm talking about it, the aura doesn't usually brighten up. It's not until we do the energy healing and we really install that new belief, that new expanded sense of self into their nervous system, that their light brightens. And it literally brightens. I mean, it just blows my mind, because I just see, wow, you just got really bright. And it just, I never get tired of it. It's fascinating.
Cool. It's almost like maybe like a weight is lifted and it allows that
It's like their soul has been hidden.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, like a curtain is
really,
drawn back.
They talk about love and light. Really, our soul is our light. I mean, they say it's a metaphor. It's really true. It's like the more our light is, the more we embody our soul, and more our soul is able to radiate out of us, the brighter we are. We are sharing the light. We are embodying the light. We are sharing the light, because we're allowing the soul, because our soul is really the spark of God within us. It's the divine.
Yes.
It's the light.
Yeah.
I mean, source, light, it really is. It's absolutely true. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't even say it's a metaphor.
I agree with you. I am totally, in total agreement with that. So this is also too, I think, how we can create this link with the concept of manifestation. And back, I forget, was it like the 90s when The Secret came out, or the early 2000s? I can't remember. But
I think it was 2000, something like that, right?
Yeah, but then people are like, well, this doesn't really work, I don't understand. And so I think and all of we light workers are bringing like more light to this and more understanding, is that when our light is bigger and brighter and not shrouded or clogged or blocked, then energetically speaking, then we're really able to attract what we want in our lives. And so whether it's a love, a soulmate, a love relationship, or a friend relationship, or a job or career, or whatever it is, then I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is sort of that connection to that actual manifestation, and that the missing link is the light.
The light is, it's like the brighter we become, the higher our energy is, you could say, is vibrating. It's almost like our vibration just went up another notch. And whenever we're wanting to manifest something, that thing usually it's something like, oh, I want, I don't know, a new house, or it's something that is on a level that when we think about it, feels beyond us, right? It feels like it's up here and we're down there, literally. But when we work on ourselves and remove all those limiting beliefs and our light gets brighter, our energy starts to resonate at a higher level. And when we keep working ourselves to the point where we're at that level where that thing is already vibrating, we're matching the vibrational resonance of that thing. And it's like we've just up-leveled our energy, so it's moved into this dimension where that thing already exists in our life. Mm-hmm. And when we're there, it shows up because we are there energetically. You know, there's actually a theory in quantum physics. It's a parallel universe theory. And I really ascribe to this theory. They talk about this, the implicate order and the explicate order. And the implicate order is the order that we don't see in this dimension, but it's what's creating everything on the etheric, on the vibrational level. So it's like when we up level our energy, it's like we've shifted into that etheric domain, or you could say the dimension that relates to that etheric domain, where that thing is going to manifest. We've matched that, we've moved into that universe where that thing exists energetically. And so we're there and it shows up because we've matched it energetically.
Yes. So we have to raise our vibration to match that because that's already there and it's already happening. So we just have to get, and I say again, we as humans in general, have to get in a practice of raising that vibration. Yeah. And then also like not allowing ourselves to be lowered by all the other stuff happening, right? Is that?
Well, if you use, I recommend, I created this Aura deck that's based on my work with the energy field. And this is what I have my clients use on a regular basis, on a daily basis, to just keep raising the vibration, because there's always going to be stuff. There's always going to be stuff. If we don't keep working on being in alignment with what we want, the stuff that comes in is going to challenge us and trigger us, and we need to work through that somehow. If we just say, oh, forget it, this is too overwhelming, I'm not even going to try, then we get stuck in it. So we have to be really conscious and aware that we have to continually keep, moving towards what we want and being continually aligning ourselves with what we want. We can't just stop and all of a sudden, oh, I'm here already. We're never there. It never ends. The work never ends, really.
But and I think I think because I love spiritual work so much, I think that's fun. Even though sometimes it is challenging. I'm not saying it's all, sunshine and rainbows all the time, but I love doing that work and having those breakthroughs and those aha moments and the feeling of that alignment. When I'm finally ready to release and let go of something forever, because I understand that it just doesn't serve me anymore. Yeah. And I love seeing that with my clients too, where it just clicks. And I know you see this a lot too. And
if someone continually works on themselves, because it is work. I mean, you have to do the process, even though it can be enjoyable work. I still call it work because it does take a commitment to do it. Then everything just continually keeps opening up because we're just moving to higher and higher levels of energy, whatever you want to call that, vibration, resonance, light, alignment with the divine, whatever you want to call that. But it is a continual process. Absolutely. Yeah. And it is fun. I mean, I think it's fun too. I mean, that's why we do what we do, probably. And the people who are aligned with it, I think also think it's fun. Like my clients love this work. It is fun because it feels so good to let go of stuff that's holding you back and limits you. I mean, you just feel liberated, you feel free, you feel empowered, you feel energized, you feel confident, you feel motivated. I mean, it's wonderful.
Yeah. And I think once you get into sort of a rhythm or a habit, a pattern, a good habit and pattern of doing this work, then even when the lower vibration stuff comes up, you're able to almost automatically, hopefully, like just go right into the questions. And so this is something that I wanted to that you mentioned earlier that I want to bring back up is, and I think this is such a powerful tool that even I've had to learn over the years is to ask questions, tune into your higher self and your guides and, say like, is this something that I need to know all the details of, or can I just easily and effortlessly clear it right now, with light or tapping or, whatever tools it is, like, I think that's sort of a misnomer that we don't necessarily have to relive certain things in order to clear them, right?
No, oh no, definitely
Yeah.
not. No, we
Yeah.
don't. And that's a very good point of tuning into your guidance. I think it's really, really important to tune into our guidance and ask, what's important here, and please show me what I need to know. It's just really having that strong intention to stay connected to our guardian angels, or whatever you want to call those guides. I think that's very powerful.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I do on a daily basis. And sometimes, especially if I get thrown off or, out of whack, I multiple times a day as I retune in, I connect to the light. And this is something that I was taught by one of my teachers is to do it every hour on the hour, especially when you're new to it. But if you do that, then or eventually you're like you said before, your vibration will naturally be elevated and more connected. But then you are more aware of when you're sort of thrown out, and then you will more quickly come back. And it's because it's not about being perfect or in 100% alignment all the time, because we're human and that's just not how, life on earth works. It's a realm of polarity, but we are energetic beings connected to source at all times if we choose to be. And so, like you said earlier, it's a dance and there's our free will. And we just have to remember to make those choices that empower us.
As much as we can,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know when I get thrown off, if something happens, I thrown off, I immediately just grab my Auric and just clean out all the limiting beliefs that are coming into my head. Boom, 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 boom. And usually in about 20 minutes, I'm totally through on the other side of it. If it's something heavy, it might take a day or two. If it's something big, but it's usually really fast, because it's just getting that stuff. It's almost like when something happens, I mean, this is really what I believe happens. When something happens in the external world that triggers us emotionally, it's really triggering some limiting belief that we have about ourselves. We can't do it. We're not good enough. We don't deserve it. We're not smart enough. We're not powerful enough, blah, blah, blah. That's the stuff that gets triggered, like you look at the politics, which the past year, politics would trigger me like really big time, what was going on politically. And I had to keep clearing myself because it was triggering in me some beliefs that I wasn't powerful enough. I couldn't make an impact on the world when all this negativity was going on. It was too much. It was overwhelming. And it really went through a very dark period. But I went through and I cleared all that. And now I feel like, wow, super powerful. I mean, it really was, when these bad things happen, it's really like obstacle equals opportunity. It's there as an opportunity for us to clear these deeper programs that we didn't even know were there, that was sapping our life force energy and our light.
Yes.
So it's almost a good thing when something triggers us.
It is, because
we're forced to clear ourselves on a deeper level and raise our energy even higher.
Yeah, because if we're committed to feeling good as we can all the time, then when something triggers us and we notice it, then, in that awareness, we can say, okay, what is this? Where did it come from? When and where did I pick it up? When and where did I decide that this was a pattern that I needed to repeat, or that a pattern that I think keeps me safe, but really doesn't, then it encourages us to start asking the questions. And then I feel like that's where that clearing and that empowerment and that opening can really happen is when we, infuse that curiosity into the triggers.
Right. Yeah, I to use a level that's much more a practice that's a little bit more simplified, because I really believe most people cannot figure out where stuff comes from. It's usually too deep. I mean, that's why I work with the aura, because most people have no idea why they're feeling this way or that way. So I have them focus on their feelings and clear the emotions out of the body, and then clear the emotions. The limiting belief bubbles up. Oh my God, I believe that about myself. It comes up afterwards. So it's sort of interesting.
Oh, I do.
When someone works like using the deck, not because I'm not reading their field, they have to clear themselves. I'm not there to read their colors. If they use the deck, they clear out the emotion. When you clear out the emotional charge, which is what we're feeling when we get triggered, we're all in this emotional charge zone. You clear out the emotional charge and you get neutral and you feel emotionally neutral, then you see, oh my God, this is what I was thinking and feeling and believing about myself or the world. It just comes into awareness. So it's different, because I think it's very hard for people to really understand their own subconscious and
it is.
Figure out where stuff comes from. I think that's hard for a lot of people, and so that's why I've tried to make it as simple as possible and not have them have to figure it out with their minds, because I think that can be very, very hard to do.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so powerful to work with another practitioner to help open the sacred space, be the guide, and sort of hold that space too for that person. So tell us where people can find you and this wonderful card deck that you keep referring to.
Oh, thank you. So my website is aurapowerful.com. And my card deck is on there for sale. And I also have a group program that's starting November 3rd, where we read and clear the aura as a group. It's lots of fun. That starts November 3rd. That's also on my website, and that people can sign up for that there. You can also get a free consultation if you want to chat with me. You can sign up for a free consultation on my website as well.
Cool. How long
and I also have a free Aura Power Toolkit, which helps you. It's kind of a mini version of the Aura deck. Before I came up with the Aura deck, it's kind of the precursor to that, and that's free. That's on the homepage.
Awesome. And how long is the group program?
The group program is 3 months.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And it's 1 group session every other week.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So all of these links will be on the show notes page. And is there anything else any events coming up that you want to?
Well, I'm going to be on someone's show, but I don't even know how to give you the information for that on a YouTube show. I'm going to be reading people's auras live on Laura Gailey's New Earth One YouTube show, but I don't even know how to give the links for that, unfortunately, or I would. Well, if I figure it out, I'll send it to you, Laura. You can put it in the notes.
Okay, sounds good. So everybody just go over to aurapowerful.com and you'll find all of the free tools and the session signups and the group program. It's all there. I've been over there myself and checked it out and clicked on all the links and fun stuff. And so just to finish up today, if you're interested in learning more about myself and my practice, head on over to drlaramay.com, and there you will find I have a gut healing toolkit, which includes both physical and energetic tools to help you heal your gut, which is really, we've talked this whole session about the aura, which is the outside of us, but the gut is that inner, that literally the core of a lot of where our health stems from. And so it's a super powerful free toolkit for you to download. And that will also get you on my email list so that you won't miss any events or any programs coming up. And I do have the Sacred Self Whole Health Mastery group coaching program. And that is a 9-month program where we incorporate functional medicine tools with energy medicine, because you can do a lot with your physical body just there. But once you infuse the energetic tools and energetic healing with it, then that's when you get really powerful and long lasting shifts. So I look forward to seeing you all over there on my website, drlaramay.com, and on Dr. Sandra's website at aurapowerful.com. And thank you again for being with us. This was wonderful. And I look forward to having you back for another fun conversation.
Yeah, I'd love to come back.
Great. Thanks so much. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks, Lara. Bye-bye.